All right, everyone, this is Fernando here now for the second part or the second film of my movie review podcast. So, this was my new venture where I showcase a lot of reviews associated with films I've recently seen. And in this way, you get to not only hear my reviews, but also see some images associated with it. And it'll give a good opportunity to share this on a more broader basis because this was one that I actually did about last month or so on my community tab. But then I realized why not showcase it here as well? And then that way a lot more people get to hear my reviews associated with it. So let's go ahead and let's talk about, in this case, Greenland was just debuted on VOD a little bit earlier this year. So Greenland was actually a film that apparently was supposed to come out last year several times, but of course because of the pandemic and of course the shift in theaters closing and then going to a limited status, it just went through several different iterations, several different dates until it finally was just decided we'll just release it on VOD. And so I got a chance to see this film with some family members last month, and here's my review associated with it altogether. This is a great little film. I had absolutely no expectations tied to it when I was originally watching it. Like I thought it was just going to be a big dumb movie, but no, it actually has its special moments. A lot of care seemed to go into this film as it was being made, down to the acting, down to the little intimate scenes, the special effects as well. In fact, learning later on that this film was made for only $35 million, that's pretty amazing considering some of the effects that are within the film itself. You have to see the film in order to know what I mean because they definitely stretched their dollars throughout the entire film itself. And then also, when I was watching this film, the reason why I think it really hit a note with me and it was really good was because it's an excellent throwback to the War of the Worlds film, the one that came out in, I think it was 2005 with Tom Cruise. And here's what I mean. Just like that film, this film has to do with a major disaster, a major impact happening on this earth, but it's only seen through the viewpoint of some limited people. In this case, the family that you follow throughout the entire movie. Gerard Butler, Monica Burin, I think that's her name, and then also the son. So you only see whatever is happening within the entire film through their viewpoints. It's very tough to do that and make it work well because obviously you want to see what happens elsewhere, like when it comes to the disaster itself. And so, in order for it to work, you have to make every scene count. All those little touching moments, like the ones we just see here between the father and the son, and then the mother, all of them have to work. But it did work. It worked really, really well. And in fact, those points also brought up some interesting dialogue associated with the issue of who gets picked, who gets saved when it comes to being part of the next iteration, the next generation of whoever the survivors are. There are certain points in the film where it addresses that directly. You see how some people are picked, some people aren't when it comes to the government making those decisions. You see how they're picked due to their resources or informational skills, whatever they might have now, and how important it will be later on. And then, of course, you see some of the people that didn't get picked, like the horror, the realization in their faces as to what's going to happen and why they didn't get picked. And then you see, of course, the desperation tied to them whenever they're trying to find themselves, find that savior, that spot that everyone has to go to, that you'll see here, that everyone has to go to be able to be saved and get on those planes. You'll see how people just react in that kind of situation when they're at the gates and they're not being picked, and so they're trying to force themselves in, and that leads to other type of dramatic scenes. Really, really well played out stuff. I thought they did a lot of real world applications instead of people acting, let's say, out of this world in terms of just fake drama. No, I think they really did as best as they could to try to make sure to showcase what people will do in real life situations, and it worked well. And I think that's why, again, it was a brilliant hallmark to the original 2005 War of the Worlds film, because in that one too, you got to see that desperation within people, and you got to see them make mistakes all along the way, just like here in this film. You get to see those mistakes there, and all along the way too, you get to have some great action moments associated with those meteorites that are coming in ahead of that very large giant asteroid, and then also with regards to other things that are blowing up here and there. And so really, really great stuff. I thought it was really well presented. And again, the idea that this is only made for $35 million, absolutely outstanding. This could definitely teach a moment to other films out there that spend 10 times that much and yet can't get that kind of effect, as far as the special effects, let alone the action and the drama that was here. Well made when it comes to the writing, well made when it comes to the action as well made when it comes to the drama and the scenes. And there are some really touching points too, whenever you see some people, how they realize that they've done some incredible things that they normally wouldn't do, like either trying to save others or trying to make sure that they get saved in turn. That's the kind of stuff that truly, truly stands out in a film like this. If you're wondering why it's called Greenland 2, I don't know if this is a little bit spoilerific, but the Greenland part is actually the promised land. It's the land where everyone is going to that has the least amount of danger when it comes to that meteorite striking. So really neat stuff. Another thing that really stood out, you just saw there, they presented a lot of different news angles here and there, not just on the social media side, but also on the news side, and then everything presented on TV. And it worked out really well too, because you got to see it presented in a real world situation. Like you got to see how power was cut out, you got to see the impact of certain meteorites ahead of the big one, and then how the rest of the world was reacting to it. It was just really, really great stuff. And again, it just limited 100% to their viewpoint. So you don't get to see like the Oval Office and the viewpoint of the president. You don't get to see like some battle carrier as they fight some other type of a situation elsewhere. No, you just pretty much 100% see it through the father, the mother, and then in some cases the son. With regards to their situation. And along the way, they meet some other people in their lives, like other family members who are left pretty much behind. And then at that, you get to see their viewpoint too. But otherwise, yeah, really, really, really great stuff. So, do I recommend this movie? Absolutely. I recommend it to check it out. Rent it at least. You'll find a link for it below if you wanted to go ahead and take a chance and then be able to see it. And then also, if you want to purchase it, you'll find the link for that too. But it's really a good film that I highly recommend, at least for a weekend or maybe a cold night, as it's happening right now, and then you'll be able to enjoy it just like I did. It was a welcome surprise because of the low expectations that I had no expectations, and then at the lowest end it would have been low expectations. But no, I walked away with a really good indication that this was a good film. This was something that was quality made, and there was a lot of great stuff done to it. It's a shame that it wasn't able to be shown in theaters because I think this would have been a sleeper hit as well. It probably would have had some great word of mouth where it would have had maybe a decent opening run, but then it would have stayed decent afterward because of the large amount of people stating, "Hey, this is a really good film. Go ahead, check it out." And then they recommend it to their neighbors and coworkers and so on. So it's just really good stuff. So, all right, everybody, yeah, check it out when you have a chance. Greenland. If I had to rate it out of 5 stars, I'll rate it 4 stars because of the great stuff that was tied into it. Not just the acting, the directing, the action, the storyline, special effects, everything was really good. That wasn't 100%, top notch, but it didn't have to be, and otherwise it was still 4 out of 5 stars. So, all right, everybody, thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.